Hey, what's up everybody? It's Matt from HowToMotorcycleRepair.com. In today's video, I just want to talk about my choice of carb cleaner spray, and I also want to cover some do's and don'ts about carburetor cleaning. Alright, so what I have here on the left is a carburetor that is fully clean and it's ready for assembly, and over here there's a carburetor that I just pulled off my bike, and I pulled the float ball off and I have done zero cleaning on it. And actually it's not too dirty, but I do have to swap a few jets, and I figured I'd just give it a quick peek inside to make sure it's all good. And I'm currently rebuilding the motor for this bike, which is my 01 KX250. I'll have a full engine rebuild for that bike. Should cover years 94 to 07, both the 125 and the 250. And that video is probably going to be about 3 to 4 hours long once I'm done, and that should be out in a few weeks. But anyway, this carburetor here is off my friend's KTM 450. It's an FCR carburetor. It's a Keehan, and basically this is what you find on all the 250 and 450 four-stroke dirt bikes and quads. Now this one here, I soda blasted. It had all kinds of nasty stuff on the outside, kind of like this one. You can see all the, all the sand and dirt and stuff like that that eventually builds up on the outside. But what I want to focus on in this video is, I have several carb clean videos on my YouTube channel, and people leave comments saying, hey, I cleaned the carb, but I'm still having this issue. And I feel that a lot of people don't fully disassemble the carburetors. They probably take the float bowl off, spray some carb clean around, and put it all back together, and they're still having the same issues. Well, unless you completely take it apart and inspect everything and really look in these jets and make sure they're clear, and spray it and blow it out with compressed air and verify all your passages in your car body, I just think those are shortcuts that you can't take. So let's see, where are we going to start here? Alright, so like I mentioned before, I like to use this carb clean here, the B-12. It's definitely one of the more expensive ones out there, but I feel it just does a better job of cleaning. And I've used them all. Gum Out, the Super Tech stuff at Walmart. I mean, I've used all the brands, and I can honestly say that this one works the best for me. Now, like I said, I soda blasted this one, but what I do after it's soda blasted, I have to verify that all the passages are clear. So what I like to do is use this stuff here, and definitely use the little straw that it comes with. Alright, so for example, let's cover the most likely passage to be clogged, and that is the idle circuit, which is the pilot jet, the fuel screw, and the air jet. The air jet doesn't get clogged, but air comes in through here, fuel comes up through here from the fuel bowl. This is the pilot jet. Here's the fuel screw, which trims what the pilot jet supplies out of this little tiny hole right there. And that's what controls your idle. Now, as you lift the slide up, it goes 100% on the pilot, and there's another hole back here. Basically, that's your 0 to 1/8 throttle position. Okay? So what I like to do is I like to put the straw in here and make sure it's spraying through the car body. So see how it's squirting like that? And this can has a nice pressure too, so that's fully clear. Then what I like to do is come in with my air. I got 90 psi, and just blast it. You got to make sure that passage is clear, otherwise it's not going to idle. And notice I'm wearing gloves. I mean, whenever you're dealing with chemicals, you want to wear gloves. And same thing with the air jet. When you blow in here, you should see air coming out of here. So that looks good. Now notice when I put air in here. Okay. So, and then the other passage for this is here. It's the fuel screw. So go ahead and spray some carb clean in here, and you should see it come out. So we got a nice stream there. And again, hit it with air. Alright. So that's the carb body passages. Now here is the pilot jet. Basically what I like to do is hold it up to the light, and you can see the size of the passage, or of the jet. And, you know, it's basically the size of a pin needle. I mean, it's very small. So make sure you're wearing safety glasses. This stuff can really spray all over the place. And hit it with some air. Alright, so that looks clean. And then also, this is the fuel screw. You want to make sure that this tip is clean. So what I typically do is just spray a little on here, and then just wipe it on a rag. And you can buff it clean with Scotch-Brite just to make sure it's fully clean. And so you're going to want to repeat that process for all the brass. And if you have fully plugged up brass, then Berryman makes a chem dip, and that stuff I use on brass, which is heavily varnished. I mean, you can't dip rubber in there. Okay, so, and also with this, I don't like to let it hit rubber, and if I do, it's for a very brief amount of time. Okay, alright, so that's what you want to do. What you don't want to do is come over here. You know, this carb isn't even taken apart. You know, you see on this carb, the float's out, all the brass is out. You definitely don't want to just take off the float bowl and do one of these guys and then call it good. I mean, that would not be the right way to clean a carb. Okay. Also, you notice I'm drinking some beer over here. I would wait until the project is completely done before opening up some beer. You're going to be spilling it. You're going to get distracted. Just get the job done, and then make sure it runs right, and then you can do a little celebrating. All right. Another thing, whenever you're taking carburetors apart on a Jap bike, you're going to want to use a Jis screwdriver. This is not a Phillips. If you look it up, Phillips is designed to cam out and strip, whereas Jis, you apply the proper torque to the fastener and then you stop. Now Jis screws have a little dot right there, and that's how to determine which is a Jis. Now this screwdriver is about 20 bucks. I bought it off Amazon, and I'll have a link to it in the video description. But it's also an impact driver, so if I had a stuck screw, I can smack this with a hammer, and it has a spring-loaded action to help loosen fasteners. And I tell you, man, I always wondered why, you know, I didn't know this till years ago. I was stripping fasteners, or I saw bikes with stripped Jis screws, and I never understood why. And until I used one of these, and you know, I don't strip screws anymore, and this is just a super nice screwdriver. Okay, another tip. What I would encourage you to do is, you know, this is not the correct diagram for any of this. This is actually an engine, but you want to print out the service manual or the parts diagram just so you can see what's in there and what's supposed to be in there. I wrote down everything that is stock jetting for this carb over here, and I'm comparing it to the jetting that was in there, and that kind of helps me determine if I should change anything or if it's correct. I mean, people love messing with carbs, and I have found in the past that sometimes it's not always jetted properly, and I couldn't really understand why it was done in certain ways. But you know, it's always good to know what the stock jetting is, and then what do you have, and then you can kind of decide and determine why something was done that way. I mean, if you have aftermarket exhaust or pods or something like that, then sure, I mean, you got to make some jetting changes. But sometimes, you know, it's done for reasons I don't know why. All right, so let's move over here. This is pretty clean. It just requires some light-duty cleaning, and that's what this carb spray will be perfect for. Just hit it over here, and you can see that it's doing a nice job breaking up all the fuel. And then what I do is I just kind of swish it around and dump it in a container. So there you go. That's what that float looks like just by hitting it with carb spray once and blowing it off with compressed air. Alright guys, well that's it for this video. I just wanted to share with you B-12 is good stuff, and hopefully those few carb cleaning tips will help you out in your project. So definitely subscribe to my channel and check out some of my other videos. Alright, see you next time.